Hello, I'm Paul Falonga, and this is Ipitomy's video user guide for the Ipitomy Q Manager. This video has been organized with user information first. At the end of the guide is setup information that is primarily intended for the network or system administrator. However, user settings are discussed there for the options of alert sounds, alert pop-up, and away time. To get the most out of this video, please use the YouTube controls and adjust the video resolution to the highest possible. QManager is a Windows application that connects over your network to the Ipitomy PBX. QManager is linked to your telephone and can be used to monitor extension, queue, agent, call park, and conference activity, while also providing control of your extension. There's a lot going on the QManager screen, so we're going to start to explore its capabilities by learning more about what's in front of you. QManager is composed of several panels, which we'll discuss in detail in a minute. The panels are the panel of users, which can be all system users or just the users of a selected queue. The personal panel, that place on QManager dedicated to your calls and telephone. The monitor panel, a real-time display of call activity at the telephone you've selected to monitor. Queue detail panel, this area provides a snapshot view of the statistics of all queues. The queued call panel, this is where calls in all queues are listed so that you can stay apprised of callers waiting in queues or take action on calls waiting in queues. The conference bridge panel. This panel provides easy access to conference bridges installed on your system. The alert panel shows system alert conditions associated to queues as well as calls on park waiting for pickup. Now we're ready for some details. We'll start with the panel of users. This panel is made up of smaller units called user agent panels. You have a choice of user agent panels that will be displayed in the panel of users. Along the top of the QManager screen is a toolbar. Use the toolbar pull-down to select either Show All or Selected Queue. Show All shows all of the user agent panels in the system. Selected Queue shows only those user agent panels that are members of the selected queue or agents logged into the selected queue, regardless of which telephone they use to log in. When using Selected Queue, pick from the system queues using the Queue Detail panel. The panel of users is comprised of user agent panels. Each user agent panel provides information at a glance for that user or agent. To illustrate the operations possible, we're going to use Mike's user agent panel. User agent panels have helpful status icons and include lots of information, including the extension number, which is the actual extension number of the telephone in use, the extension name, and the agent name. When a user at this telephone is logged in as an agent, that agent name is displayed here. In this case, the agent name is the same as that of the phone, but it could be any agent's name, depending on who has logged in at the telephone. A blue agent bar indicates that the agent is ready to receive calls as part of the queues to which it is assigned. A red agent bar indicates the agent is paused. When paused, the agent does not receive queue calls. Note that calls to the extension are still possible. The user agent panels provide present status, where QManager users have the ability to signal other QManager users of their status using the presence feature. There is an indication of voice messages waiting for the extension. The status avatar appears in 4 colors, which are blue, indicating an unavailable extension, green, available and idle, yellow, ringing, and red, busy. The chat bubble is present for any user where QManager is licensed and logged into chat. Blue indicates chat is ready. Gray indicates that the user is not logged in to chat. When there are chat messages pending for you, an envelope will appear and pulsate in your toolbar. If the user who sent you the chat message appears in your panel of users, the chat bubble in that user's user agent panel will have changed to an envelope indicating that they are the user who sent you the chat message. You can receive multiple chat messages and therefore may expect to see multiple user agent panels with chat envelopes. You can retrieve a chat message by clicking on the pulsating envelope in the toolbar to get the first pending message, or you can click on the envelope that is present in the user agent panel of the user who sent you the message. In this way, you can select which message you review first. Presence is available to anyone using Call Manager. Presence indicates the status of QManager users. Use the pull-down in the QManager toolbar to select any of the available presence indications. Once selected, your status will post to all QManager users. QManager also invokes certain presence statuses automatically. For instance, if you leave your workstation unattended, your status will automatically be changed to Away. This is set in Settings, Chat, Away Time. QManager can be used to place calls to any user that is shown in the panel of users. Simply place your mouse over the user agent panel of the user that you wish to call and right-click the mouse. You'll be presented with options based on connection status and permissions. Click on Call to generate a call to the extension with usual ringing at the extension. Click on Page if you wish to connect to that extension's speakerphone, allowing them to reply hands-free. Notice too that if an agent is logged in at this telephone and you have privileges to do so, you can place that agent in pause or log out the agent. Call transfer is possible using QManager as well, but we'll talk about that later. Next, we'll look at the personal panel. The personal panel is comprised of interactive call information and controls specific to your telephone. There are two areas inside your personal panel: the extension and agent controls area and the active call area. At the top of the personal panel is the extension number that is associated to QManager. Use the forward button to turn on and off unconditional call forward. The settings of unconditional call forward may be available to you through the user login access known as Smart Personal Console. Please check your system administrator to determine if you can and how to access your Smart Personal Console portal. The auto button works in concert with unconditional call forward, which will monitor inactivity at your workstation and automatically place your telephone into unconditional call forward mode in the event you forget to do so. When auto forward has been invoked by the system, a window will appear advising you of the status and allowing you to unforward your phone. When you are logged in as an agent, your agent name will be displayed in the personal panel. You can click on Agent Options to control your agent's settings. Login will be seen when there is no agent logged in at the phone. Log out and pause will be seen when an agent is logged in. When you are logged in, you will receive calls for queues to which you are assigned. Log out takes you out of queues. Pause allows you to remain a part of the queue while temporarily unavailable to take queue calls. Below the personal panel controls are the calls that are active on the telephone. Active calls are ringing calls, calls on hold at your telephone, and calls connected to your telephone. Your personal panel active call area gives you all the information about each call, which includes the connection type, the duration of the call, available caller ID, call type, direction of the call, and trunk information. Interactive controls are available for each call. You can park a call, record a call, and hang up calls. You can use call park and hang up on calls that are ringing or on hold as well as those that are connected. The record button can only be used on connected calls. To answer a call, use the telephone itself. Either lift the handset or press the speaker button to answer in speakerphone mode, or press the headset button to answer in headset mode. You can also drag and drop a call from your personal panel to another extension to transfer the call, but be careful not to drop it on the wrong one. There is a much better way to transfer. Use your mouse to select the call you wish to transfer. It could be the one you're connected to, a call on hold at your telephone, or a ringing call at your telephone. The selected call will highlight blue. Then position your mouse cursor over the extension where the call will be transferred and right-click. This causes a control panel to open where you can select to transfer this call to the user's extension or directly into their voicemail. Any call in your personal panel active calls area can be selected for interaction with other applications too. Position the mouse cursor over the call you'd like to link and right-click. The caller ID information for the selected call can be sent to any application that you access through a browser or to another program via Application Programming Interface. Now we'll look at user monitoring. From the panel of users, you can select a specific user agent to investigate the connection at that extension. The perimeter of the extension box selected will glow to indicate that it is the one selected. The monitor panel also allows you to interact with the calls at the extension being monitored. When selected, the call information at the monitored extension will be displayed. Depending on your permissions, you may also have the ability to use the interactive buttons to listen to the call taking place, whisper to the extension user, barge in on the call or record the call in progress. In whisper mode, your voice is heard by the extension user and not by the party connected to that extension. Barge in will forcibly remove the call from the extension being monitored and connect it to your extension. While monitoring an extension, you can right-click a call at the extension and then left-click to start a conference. This action will call your telephone and bridge together you, the monitored extension, and the connected call. In the Queued Calls panel, all calls waiting in the various queues are displayed. This allows you to get a quick synopsis of the queued call situation and, if necessary, take action. At a glance, you know how many calls are in the queue, what queue the calls are in, and how long each call has been waiting in queue. And you can immediately tell which calls, if any, have exceeded queue optimum service levels. These calls will be highlighted in red to identify them as alert condition calls in queue. From the Queued Calls panel, you can grab a call out of queue with barge and answer it at your extension. You can also click and drag the call to any extension in the panel of users. Queued calls that exceed service levels can generate alarms. These alarms are presented in the Alert panel. Queue alerts may generate for any of the following reasons. The customer service level exceeds the limits set for the queue. The number of queued calls exceeds the limits set for the queue. The number of agents or members available is less than the limit set for the queue. The number of agents or members online is less than the limit set for the queue. Parked calls are also shown. Click on the Parked Call Pickup button to retrieve that call from Park. If the alert panel is not desired, it can be minimized using the minimize arrow in the upper left corner of the panel. Let's look at the Queue Alert audible setting and messages. Queue alerts can be set to audibly alert you of the condition. Click the small speaker button on the toolbar to select or deselect PC chime operation. When a queue has been set to alert you of abandoned queue calls, you will receive a chat message from the system. You can click the envelope of the System Alerts button to view new chat alerts. You can click the System Alerts button anytime to review abandoned call history. When you are ready to clear System Alerts, open System Alerts and click on Reset in the upper left corner. On the right side of the Queue Manager screen is the Conference Bridge panel. This panel gives you at-a-glance information about each of the conference bridges in your system. The conference bridge number is listed. This is the number dialed to access the bridge. The number of users connected to the bridge is also shown. Right-click a conference bridge to open the Options dialog. Then left-click on View to open Conference Bridge Controls. When the Conference Bridge control opens, you'll see all of the participants of this conference bridge. The controls are along the top and in each participant's panel. Mute All is your way to stop unwanted chatter while engaged in a conference. The conference administrator will not be muted by the Mute All operation. Unmute All restores the ability of all participants to be heard. Kick All ends the conference and advises the participants that the conference has ended. Lock prohibits any further connections from joining this conference bridge. Unlock reopens the conference for additional participants. Participants each have a panel. Inside each panel are the details and control for that participant. Red indicates that this participant is speaking. Green identifies this participant as being connected to the bridge. Use the mute and kick buttons to perform the operation on that specific participant. In the lower left corner of Queue Manager is the Queue Details panel. Queue Details is a statistics chart for all queues. The statistics table is organized with categories along the top and queues along the left side. Details are provided for each queue listing queue name, quantity of calls in queue, average time that calls waited in queue before being answered, average queue call length, number of calls answered in this queue, number of calls not answered in the queue, number of calls that timed out and went to the failover destination, and the number of callers that abandoned the queue before being answered. You can also select a specific queue for details about that queue. Remember that this is also where you select a specific queue in association with the panel of users when you've selected queue for those to display. Maximize the queue members panel with the maximize arrow to see statistics and control the members of the queue selected. It's possible to administer the agents of the queue using the two tables. Right-click on a queue to add a member to the queue. When you do this, simply select an agent from the list and click Add to add the agent as a participant of the queue. You can remove an agent from a queue in the Queue Members panel. right-click on the queue participant to open the dialog where you can click Remove Queue Member. Now we'll look at the QManager toolbar and talk about the items we haven't yet discussed. Click on View and then click About to see QManager software and copyright information, or call recordings to retrieve those calls that are recorded and saved on the server for your extension. Choose the recording you wish and it will be downloaded to your computer where you can play it or attach it to an email or just keep it as an archived copy. Only 3 things in chat settings are user adjustable. Most of the information here is provided for the IT or network manager. Under Settings, PBX, data is entered to associate QManager to the PBX extension being used. The username is the PBX extension to which QManager will be linked. The password is that of the extension's voicemail box password. The LAN IP is that of the PBX server on the LAN. The port is 5048 and should only be changed when the port must be used in some other way. In chat configuration, the user can change alert sounds. Just check alert sound and alert pop-up if these options are desired when alerts and chat messages are received. Away time is set to monitor PC inactivity. When no activity is detected, 2 things happen. The present status of this extension will indicate away, and the auto forward feature will be invoked if that option is selected in the personal panel. If the PBX chat server is to be used, enable chat must be checked. Otherwise, an external chat server may be used. CTI allows QManager to work with other desktop applications like your browser. You can select Enable Local Call API and specify the port that is used by the application to send information to QManager. An example of this is Telefy in Firefox, which allows you to click on highlighted telephone numbers on web pages to dial those numbers. Screen pop-up allows you to send information from QManager to a browser. Name each pop-up to make it easy to select when you right-click on an active call in the personal panel. The URL will be sent to the browser for lookup. Variables can be sent as part of the URL string. They are listed here for your use. If there are global pop-up definitions in the PBX, these can be loaded easily by clicking the Import from PBX button. Each can be enabled or disabled without removing and adding again by checking the Enabled checkbox. Use Browser sends the URL string that you've input to the default browser as defined in Microsoft Windows. Use Post sends the string to the API interface if it is enabled. See CTI Enable Local API. Auto Pop-up Inbound will automatically send the associated string to the browser or API when you answer a call. Thank you for watching this user guide. We hope that you enjoy using QManager.